It's been a huge year of golf for Australia. The country has produced 6 different winners on the PGA Tour in 2014, including Adam Scott, who headlines this week's Australian Masters, the first leg of the Aussie Triple Crown. In 2009, the tournament began rotating around the famous Melbourne Sandbelt courses. This year, the Metropolitan Golf Club is hosting. Golfing World recently sat down with Golf Australia's CEO Stephen Pitt to talk about the big summer events.
When you look at the great courses in Melbourne, and you'd have to say over the last 10 years at least, that they have been staffed tournaments. So it's fantastic to see Metropolitan hosting an event. Victoria previously, and Royal Melbourne, of course, sort of coming back on the rotor with World Cup and Masters, and so it's been terrific for golf.
Adam Scott certainly likes the new arrangement. He arrives in Melbourne looking to win the Aussie Masters for the 3rd consecutive year. In May, the 2013 US Masters champion became the 2nd Australian after Greg Norman to top the world rankings. So needless to say, Golf Australia is delighted to have its biggest draw back on home soil.
Adam is such a likeable and popular athlete. He was voted the most popular sports person in the country. So to have him as #1 and have him as such a great ambassador for the game and for Australia overseas has been really important. The profile when he won at Augusta National really focused people's attention on golf.
It's also been a successful year for the country's amateurs. Royal Melbourne hosted the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship, where Aussie teenager Antonio Modaka beat a world-class field by 7 shots. His reward, a place at Augusta in 2015.
Every morning since it's happened, I think the first thing that would have popped into his mind is, I'm playing the Masters tournament in April. I guarantee it. So for him, it's such an amazing opportunity, and I don't think he probably has grasped what that opportunity is yet. It's a huge leg up. You know, if you look at players turning pro now, they've probably, you know, the odds would say they've got about a 5% chance of ever playing in the Masters, and Antonio's got that guaranteed.
It was a great week all round for Australia at Royal Melbourne. The host nation started with 10 players in the field, filling 3 of the top 4 places, while 2 more finished inside the top 8. It certainly appears the next generation of professional golf is in pretty good hands.
Antonio was, you know, he was our 9th ranked player getting into that field. If it had have been outside of Australia, he wouldn't have actually qualified for the event. I think it speaks to the volume of depth that we have in our high performance program, which is what we're really happy with. And depth is so important. To get a number of players at the pointy end of world rankings is what's critical to success.
Speaking of which, Sydney golf fans are in for a treat at next week's Australian Open, as Rory McIlroy and Adam Scott, the top 2 on the world rankings, will renew their rivalry. Last year, McIlroy birdied the last to deny Scott both his national championship and the chance to win all 3 Triple Crown events in the same season.
We're so excited. It was such a great clash last year. I think you'd say that Rory took a big step last year and really found his mojo and had a year to dream of. So he'll go into to Sydney, the Emirates Australian Open, as a really dominant world #1. Adam, though, always plays well here, and I'm sure, I know he's focused on going one better.
Having the best players in the world going shot for shot on Australian soil is great news for the fans, who spend most of the year watching their heroes on television very early in the morning. But seeing players like Rory and Adam in the flesh also provides a boost for the grassroots of golf.
Some sports don't get the benefit of having really successful players, but golf does, and we've got data that proves that. If you look at Greg Norman back in the day, his impact on Australian golf in terms of participation and membership was really profound. Adam has got a little way to go to replicate in terms of what Greg did, but we've had that same sort of impact. We've had a renewed interest in the game and people taking it up and joining clubs, which is just critical.